I wanna grow up, 'cause maybe if I did.
Why so serious?
All the toys, all the time.
I am the game and still getting trying to play you. You know the rules. This isn't a toy.
But we bought it at the toy store.
We did, but the way I'm using it makes it an adult thing.
Are you ready to play the game?
Welcome to the Toy Department with Matt Kolsky and Derek Madden.
Yeah.
All right, Tuesday edition of the Toy Department. I'm Derek Madden. He's Matt Kolsky. How are you feeling, man?
Pretty good. It's Tuesday. It's mid-morning.
It is mid-morning. It's mid-morning, and I'm fully fed.
I'd be better. I'm going to put that as an outtake at the end of the episode so people know, in retrospect can realize what you're referencing, the absurdity that you're referencing. But, I feel good. It'd be better if it was Friday, but here we are.
Yeah. I don't know. Now we got the whole week ahead of us, man.
Yep.
I guess it's up to people to decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Exactly.
All right. Should we jump into the content this week?
Let's jump.
You want to start with Top Chef?
Sure.
I didn't see anything this week that changed my, and I would say our shared evaluation of the competitors from last week. We just said that is fair. In other words,
just like
all the people we thought were contenders are still the people I think are contenders.
Right, and Gabriel's still a dickhead. And I still love Sarah and Dawn and Nelson and Roscoe because, although mild spoiler, although he was eliminated from Last Chance Kitchen, he really was lovable. It's a shame he couldn't stick around.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? 0 for 2. I realized that Gabriel sort of being edited as the heel.
He seems like a heel. You keep saying it like the edit's unfair to him. It does not feel like he's being cherry-picked. The guy can't stop saying obnoxious stuff.
You know what? Here's the thing: it's like this is why I sort of find him interesting because I agree he is obnoxious, and like certainly the chef-splaining this week was cringy. You know what I mean?
Is that a term you had ever heard before? By the way.
I don't know if I'd ever heard it verbalized or not, but it seemed very natural. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I mean, I immediately knew what she meant when she said that, but I thought it was hilarious, and I was like, I've never heard someone say chef-splain. That's great.
But the reason that I find it interesting is because I think he's rarely wrong when the things that he's saying. It's just the way he's being that is wrong, right?
Derek,
that makes him obnoxious.
To quote,
you know what I mean?
To quote the dude, "You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole."
Yeah, it's kind of what it is, right?
That's exactly what it is. But that is common to this sort of dickhead, right? You're not breaking new ground when you're this sort of dickhead who's really good at what he does and is right an awful lot, but it is needlessly a dick about everything. And also, it's totally aloof.
Also, don't you feel like that's a common chef personality?
Yes.
Too? Right? Like
there's one on every season. And he's totally aloof and totally unaware of what's going on around him and unimaginably like self-centered and pompous. But he is very good and often correct.
And I don't think it's not entirely pomposity because if you think about that situation, right, like he was willing to kind of roll with her dish, right? Like he was willing to sublimate himself in that way and did so like pretty ego-free, right? But then had this freak out of like, well, I'm not going to be represented on this plate. By the way, a reasonable freak out. You know what I mean? In an individual challenge.
But that's not ego free. Certainly not the way he behaved with it.
Right, and then handled it poorly. So that's what I mean. It's not like he's like completely pompous and like couldn't imagine like, oh, I'm a much better chef than you, and therefore, like, like someone who thought that wouldn't like be like, let's do your dish, but he can't quite get. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, there's an interesting contrast there, and you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
I don't think it's that interesting.
But
I think he's the sort of dude who's like, oh yeah, let's do your dish, because he wants to appear like he's not a dickhead.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then as soon as they start actually doing it, he's like, actually, no, wait, do your dish this way. Do your dish this way. Hold on, wait, what about my part of your dish? Like, I feel like he tried.
What about my part of your dish is not an unreasonable concern in a challenge where only one person in the team is going home. You know what I mean?
It's not an unreasonable concern. But again, to me, that was the behavior of a guy who tried to pretend like he could sublimate himself in any way and then couldn't. He literally could not. So, however you want to view that, he's acts like a petulant child and says things dead staring into the camera that make you go, "Oh my god." What a dickhead.
I think the thing that we agree on is that he lacks some self-awareness for sure.
That's the nicest way to say it, yeah.
But, and this is, I'd say, true of any good heel on the show. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. I think both of these games will be here for a while.
No, and he clearly did well in this challenge, although he wasn't like a total knockout in the the regular the quick fire. But he was good. Some of those quick fires, first of all, the quick fire ask to make 30, like, they're in a deli, right? Allegedly. They got all this super cool deli decor. They got deli waiters and waitresses, but the ask is nothing deli-like. Diner, yes. But the ask is not a diner ask, man. The ask is a classy-ass 8 dishes in 30 minutes ask, and that is brutal. Here, make up something that I ask for immediately on the spot and cook 8 of them perfect in 30 minutes is about as tough a quickfire as I feel like I've ever seen.
I loved it. I loved this quickfire. I loved it.
It was awesome.
Random, like the pace was really high.
Holy shit, was it fast.
It was difficult, and because it was difficult, I kind of liked that it was like not really stakes. You know what I mean? Right? Like there are people who didn't plate all their ingredients.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're bummed, but like
you don't want it to be the elimination.
Like, oh shit, now I'm going home.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
No, but like I agree with you in that the high level of difficulty and incredible speed of this challenge really separated the stars, and I think that's why you sort of started the conversation by saying, our suspicions were more or less confirmed. Like Shota making mochi that everyone on the judge panel was like, holy hell, this is good, in 30 minutes for 8 people was incredible.
Yeah, in a style of food he didn't really want to make, right?
No, exactly.
So, yeah, Shota, right? Like if we're fantasy drafting chefs right now, like he's both our first picks, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, he's mine. I'm taking I'm taking Shota first.
Yeah, and look, if you took Shota, I would take Nelson, and I wouldn't be upset. And then Sarah is in there too, but
yeah, honestly, the Gabes are in that group for me. I would take. I really enjoy Nelson, the TV character, but if I'm drafting chefs, I'm taking both Gabes before Nelson, personally.
I'm not taking Gabriel. I don't want that kind of presence in my locker room. But
right. If we were drafting, I would let Gabriel fall because I know he would still be on the board later. You know what I mean?
You're trading down for Gabriel. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but you're right about that. I think Nelson has not. Like I thought he sort of saved Maria in the elimination, and I don't feel like he's totally hit his stride. But I think he's going to be a threat. So I feel like I could probably get good value on him too.
Like Nelson, to me, it's like Nelson, Dawn, and Kiki. I would say
Dawn's got to get her.
She's got to get her food on the plate for sure.
She's got to get her shit together, right? Like the one thing Dawn really cooked her way and finished were the ribs in the elimination challenge, and that put them in the top 3 and like was one of the best things everyone ate all day, right? Like that was a huge win, and that was her thing. And she's clearly great at this. I mean, she's basically gotten compliments for unfinished dishes in 2 separate challenges now.
Yeah. Yes. And that's the thing is she'll get that timing. You know what I mean? Like she'll start to figure that out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially the peanut stew, right, was mostly a plating thing almost, right? So
well, I mean, both of them are timing, you know.
I guess she was in the weeds, right? She was looking for help. Now that I think about it. Prior to that. So
she has bit off more than she can chew.
That out.
But you're probably right. Yeah. She probably will. And by the same standard, I would say Nelson is a little behind time and still finding his groove, and a little bit, I thought, weighed down by Maria in the elimination. But although, then that's not really a diss to Maria because she's pretty good too. But quickly, back to the quick fire. Besides Shota, Jamie made a great quickfire dish, and yet the sort of feeling I get from her is overwhelmingly like she is not gonna last long on this show.
Do you think the producers or the casting people, I guess I should say, knew what they had in her?
It's a great question, but I think they did, because I can't imagine this is a thing she's doing for TV all day long. That's just got to be who she is. So I imagine anyone who meets her, or I imagine they must do screen tests for these people before they cast them.
Well, yeah, I mean I wonder about that. Like, does the screen test include them cooking? You know what I mean? Or because I think that particularly the police academy dude style noises. Yeah. You know what I mean?
My instinct.
I feel like that comes about in a high stress environment for her. So I don't know that you necessarily see that in an interview setting. You know what I mean?
No, I think my instinct is if you spent 30 minutes with Jamie in any environment, you'd get some beeps and boops.
Interesting. She is a singular television presence.
Absolutely, you know what I mean? Singular. I'm not happy. I'm not happy about it, but I do think she is in trouble just keeping it together. But I got to say, when you watch that, by the way, in my notes in capital letters is "Don't chefsplain to Dawn." Also in my notes, another quick aside.
You knew Dawn wasn't having it.
I did.
And by the way, honestly, that was the other thing I was going to say about that whole Gabe thing was I think that they resolved that in the most satisfactory manner possible, right? They hugged it out. He was apologetic, and they hugged it out, and they moved on, right?
Definitely
it wasn't
upset.
An ongoing issue with their team.
That was an upset. I expected it to be an ongoing issue, but you're right. They handled it like adults in the end, which is nice. Quickly, though, another quick aside. This was a twist befitting the challenge that Tom Colicchio pulled in this episode of Top Chef. Can we talk about that?
That is such a great point, because I thought that as it was happening.
Yes.
It's like, whoa, this is a TJ move right here.
This was not like Top Chef doesn't do this. Not after you've meal planned and shopped. You know what I mean? Like, sure,
Yep.
you get some tricky challenges, but they give it to you up front. And Tom straight stepped in the middle of a challenge, basically, and was like, by the way, this game is not the game you thought it was. And I was like, where's TJ? Where's
Like,
TJ
you're
Lavin
double H
right now?
now.
It's a double elimination. And it wasn't, but it was a partner challenge, right? You thought
Yeah.
you were solo. Now I'm putting
It's
you
a
on
team
teams.
challenge.
Yeah,
But
that
even,
was incredible.
Even only one of you being eliminated, that's also kind of a second twist if you
Yes.
think about it, right?
Yes, and what a
So-
great challenge for Portland. Coffee and beer. Like, when I think Portland, I think coffee and beer, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of places you can do a coffee and beer challenge, but
I don't
Portland
think-
is a great one, maybe the best.
I think it's probably the best. I think it's the number one coffee and beer location. I mean, Seattle has a nice argument, too, but there's something about that Pack NW.
Yeah, San Francisco's got a pretty good argument for coffee and beer too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I almost feel like relative to Portland, Seattle and San Francisco are cheating by virtue of population and metro area size. Like,
Yeah.
coffee
Yeah.
and
Look,
beer per
like I said,
capita, Portland is the clear leader, and it's also the clear price point favorite. You know, like
yeah, that's fair.
if you want to spend the least amount of your hard-earned money on a bunch of good coffee and beer, there's no better place to go than Portland, Oregon. So this is a
Yes.
great challenge. And what I was getting to before I got distracted by my notes, here were the teams. Jamie and Kiki, Avishar and Shota, Sasha and Brittany, Nelson and Maria, Gabe and Sarah, Byron and Chris, Gabriel and Dawn. With the possible exception of Sasha and Brittany, everyone made like mouth-watering, incredible dishes. Like Chris did a bad pasta, and Byron blew it because he knew. He should have said something, but he didn't have the heart to tell Chris his pasta stuff was shitty. But other than that, really, like, these chefs are all phenomenal. I feel like episode, 2? I feel like episode 2 of an average Top Chef season, there's 4 or 5 chefs that they're like, no, nope, not here.
Yeah, look, the teams came out great. I still think there are definitely some people I can see going home. You know what I mean? We sort of been leveling it out as we go, and I would say a lot of the people I've mentioned.
I guess
You know
with
what I mean?
Sasha, who
I could see you not being around that many episodes.
was Sasha one of those people?
Not necessarily, and I get what
I mean,
you're
that's
saying,
the
like,
thing.
oh, Sasha's a talented chef, and she's still...
She
you know,
and
and now
look
she's
at
not here.
Jamie. Like, Jamie feels like she's not going to last, but she murdered it in a really tough quick-fire challenge. And then in the elimination, like, she wasn't top 3, but that beer-fried chicken with the coffee glaze that she and Kiki made was a home run.
Yeah, I think Jamie is. I don't think Jamie's gonna last till the end, but I think she's gonna last till the middle. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily see her going home next week. You know.
But don't you think
I guess
that's
it
a
wouldn't be
reflection
done.
of how good the competition is, as opposed to, she's just not that good? I really feel like there
great
are
group of chefs for the most part.
there are no weak links here to me. It's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, Chris and Byron, I feel like are on the lower end.
Well, Chris seems to be, but Byron with the duck and the beer flavor actually did really well in the elimination. It's just the pasta that Chris made was no
Well,
good.
they're all capable of making great dishes. Like, I mean, that's a given for sure.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, like, I know they're all good every year, but this does feel like an extraordinary crop.
Yeah, it's a talented year. Like we said, I think the pandemic creating availability for people that might not normally have it really helped the show, right? We've already heard from a lot of these chefs who are like, my restaurant's closed right now.
Yep.
So,
by the way, one other fun note from me in the elimination challenge, Avishar and Shota made the fanciest looking, petite, like upscale dish you've ever seen. And true to form, Melissa was gaga for that.
Yep.
And I was like, that's such a Melissa dish that they just made. Like, it was like one incredible looking bite, basically. And Melissa was like, this is my shit.
I'm glad you brought up Avishar and Shoto, because one of the things that I wanted to mention is that I really enjoy the chemistry that those two guys have.
Yeah, look, they could have their own cooking show together for sure.
Yeah, like the awkward high fives. Avishar told that like great story about trying to find a partner and how he like looked to the left and looked right, and he said that I looked down and there's Shoto.
That was an incredible joke. I don't want to be. I hope this doesn't come off insensitive in any way, but I think a great television show would be Avishar and Shota traveling through Asia, like doing, almost an Anthony Bourdain style, finding weird foods in weird places and cooking around the world.
Yeah, I would watch that. I would watch that for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
maybe someday. So yeah, like I enjoyed that chemistry. I thought all the teams had good chemistry. This was a fun episode.
This really was a great episode. Yeah, the as you said, the great chemistry was sort of throughout. The only team that had the bumps was Gabriel and Dawn, and they really pulled it together for an incredible dish. I really thought they were going to be the dish, but Avishar and Shota, Melissa was just too nuts over the tiny bite that Avishar and Shota made.
I would say, like, even that Dawn Gabriel team, like, I thought Dawn had had some real, like, really this fucking guy energy when they got, paired up.
100%.
And Gabriel's Gabriel. And, but like I said, I think it resolved pretty well, and they made good food. So yeah, like, great all around.
They made really great food, and also, no surprise, Gabe and Sarah made really, really incredible food. And to be fair, like,
right there.
And look, coffee cured pork and stout porter tortilla, that sounds incredible just right off the bat. But it really looked, and the way they described the tortilla made my mouth water.
Yeah. That guy seems like he can really make a tortilla. I may need to go check that restaurant out next time I'm in Austin for sure.
That guy seems like he knows his way around Latin cuisine for sure.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to mention on Top Chef?
Nelson and Chris were asked to make corned beef hash with eggs over medium and hollandaise, and they both didn't finish in the quick fire. But that is basically my number one breakfast.
Really?
Yep.
You're like, corned beef hash is in your number one breakfast.
Corned beef hash with eggs over easy for me, and hollandaise just on top of all of it. That's probably, like, if my last meal had to be breakfast, that's probably what it would be. Maybe some pancakes on the side.
I feel like you're a true son of Chicago with that answer.
I may be. There's a couple of things. I'm a true son of Chicago and also of Abraham, because there's a couple of things that if I'm going to a restaurant, especially like a diner style restaurant for the first time, if it is breakfast, I pretty much must try the corned beef hash. If it is lunch or dinner, I pretty much have to try the Reuben sandwich. These are the things that, I pretty much can't look at the rest of the menu until I know whether or not those things are really good.
Wow.
And look, sometimes you do that, and you get, like, you go to the Lucky Penny and you order the corned beef hash, and it's corned beef hash from a can, and, that is what it is. And I still enjoy it as long as the eggs are nice and runny. But If you go to like a diner that's like a classy diner in disguise sort of place, you occasionally get the most mind-blowing corned beef hash. All sorts of different varieties and styles, and I enjoy them all. And same goes for the Reuben.
All right.
Yeah, that's
I've
just a
never
little
heard
bit
anyone
about
say they
me.
were so into Reuben.
It's not honestly.
it's funny.
It's not even that I'm so into a Reuben. It's just like I have to know how good your Reuben is. To me, it's like it's a measuring stick.
Oh yeah, I definitely have measuring stick dishes at places sometimes where you just want to see how they do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like I've tried all the Reubens all around the world, and I want to know how you're doing it to see like how good are you at this.
Gotcha.
And that's why
like
I say
old-fashioned is my measuring drink at a bar, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. Similar sort of a thing. I'm not enough of a cocktail honk to have a drink like that. I'm really into margaritas these days, just in general. My wife got me a whole bunch of margarita stuff for my anniversary. I've been making myself margaritas around the house.
Well, that's a cocktail. That's a cocktail of margarita.
I'm not saying I don't occasionally enjoy cocktails. Old fashioned's a little sweet for me. I'm more of a sour, bitter cocktail type of guy.
Well, that depends on how you make it. An old fashioned.
I suppose it does, but I feel like it usually has the simple syrup, so it's usually a little sweet for me.
Right, but if you're easy on the syrup, it's not that sweet. Anyway,
how do you like your old fashioned, Derek?
I like my old fashioned with a hint of sweetness. Is how I like it actually.
While we're here,
and maybe a little like I like when there's a little bit of fruit in it too, like
Okay. How do you like?
Note.
While we're talking about our own tastes, how do you like your coffee and beer? Like, what are your favorite coffees and/or beers?
Oh, well, I'm partial to Blue Bottle, or at least old school Blue Bottle. I think Blue Bottle's kind of masked out, so I don't know if it still has the same quality level because I can't get it here. So
Yep.
I don't know why. What I can get here from San Francisco that I still enjoy is Cyclass.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good one.
Which is pretty good. I like that one too. And then beers, beers I tend to drink locally. So, I'm drinking a lot of Minnesota stuff right now that I don't know if you would know.
Okay. But let's talk like genre. What's your favorite? If you were building your own beer from scratch, what does it look like?
Oh, see, that's the thing is I definitely jump around a little bit.
Okay.
Because the heaviness, it depends on sort of your mood.
Okay.
And what space you're in. I would say that I would lean towards the lighter end of beers where I will, I'll drink a stout and I'll drink an IPA, or a variety of IPAs, but I'm usually somewhere in the like IPA to the down to the lagers kind of or the pilsners kind of range. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Of the beer scale. But I'm not against like an oatmeal stout or one of those coffee beers in the in the right mood.
I got a
coffee and beer pairings.
Yeah, so I did a little sponsorship for a brewery here out of Richmond called East Brother. Do you know them?
Okay.
You've probably
I do not know East Brother.
I bet you would recognize the can of at least the stouts, but they got an oatmeal stout and a Russian Imperial that are both phenomenal. The Russian Imperial is all coffee and beer, coffee and chocolated up, and it's just phenomenal. And I am a big stout guy. I don't love hops, so I much prefer stouts to porters, for instance. I'm not a huge IPA guy, although if it's a smooth IPA, like, the Holy Grail, Pliny the Younger is, this double or even triple IPA, I think, but it's just so smooth and delicious. Generally speaking, hoppy flavor is not my thing. So I don't mind a Pilsner. I like a mild ale. I really love like a Boddington's, like a pub ale on nitro sort of deal.
Oh, I do like a Boddington's as well.
Yeah. And then I like my stouts. I like my smooth stouts. That's my beer sort of style. When it comes to coffee, I like my coffee like I like my women, which is to say, generally I'm not that picky.
I was gonna say, loaded up with cream.
No, I do have my one very favorite coffee, much like I have my one very favorite wife. But in general, when it comes to coffee appeal, I'm flexible. I like different styles. I'll drink pretty much whatever coffee you got if it's any good at all. But all things equal, Café du Monde, baby. Give me that chicory coffee. I love
all right.
that stuff. It's number one in
Café
my
du
books.
Monde. All right. Well, if you enjoy a smooth drinking IPA and you want to, support me, let me always mention 93X Half-Assed IPA from Lithbridge Brewing, available in stores in the Upper Midwest. And no joke. I am plugging my own stuff, but it is the Half-Assed IPA is quite good and very sessionable if you like a drinkable IPA. So
there you go.
And I drink a lot of it, not just because it's ours, because it's good.
When you say ours, you mean free, right?
I mean, it's certainly a factor.
All right,
but I wouldn't drink it if it sucked, even if
no,
it was
of course
free.
not.
Just so you know. So,
do we have any more Top Chef thoughts?
the only thing I wanted to add was I wanted to shout out to Maria, who I thought was, maybe didn't cook a ton of great stuff, but was really great at the ITMs this episode. So.
Yep, and you know what? I like she's there. She's right there. She's not killing it, but I think she's closer than people might imagine. Like they're all so damn good. And I really thought that lobster relleno looked pretty incredible.
Yes. And her analogy about speaking Spanish to Nelson was like holding, peeing after holding it for an hour. I thought was really great.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Or her consternation like trying to make dim sum for Melissa.
Yeah.
Am I gonna make a
dim
mini
sum
cake
for
for
Melissa?
Melissa?
That was funny.
Yeah, enjoyed that. So good for her. She can stay on the show as long as she likes, as far as I'm concerned.
Indeed.
All right, should we move on to Thunder Force?
Yeah, let's talk Thunder Force.
I don't have a ton to say about Thunder Force.
Right.
It's a perfectly decent way to kill 90 minutes or so. That's pretty much what I would say.
I would agree.
It's very competently made. Very competently made version of fairly mediocre material. If that makes sense.
I don't know that I would call it mediocre material as much as just like a basic comedic premise.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
The material
it wasn't
mediocre. It's just not super original or groundbreaking or something.
It also wasn't that funny, right? It's not an unfunny movie, but it's also not like a gutbuster either. I mean,
it's not Bad Trip, right? But it's got a little more heart and continuity.
It definitely has more heart and continuity.
And
although they filmed that in Atlanta, right? I didn't stick around for the credits, but Chicago looked a lot like Atlanta. That's all I'm saying.
They definitely had some B-roll of Chicago, but you never know where they actually
They did have
stuff.
some B-roll, but I'm pretty sure the actual city part they were in was Atlanta.
Yeah, I didn't pay that close attention to that part of it, but here's what I would say. The things that stand out to me, because I guess I'm pushing back against mediocre material because I thought it was perfectly well written and generally really well acted, but specifically, the two leading women are just tremendous. Because, I mean, you're right that this movie is not like, it's not gut-busting. It's not a laugh a minute. But God, Melissa McCarthy is really funny. I mean, she's just a really funny lady. And the laughs this movie does have are mostly just her being hilarious. And by the same token, Like, I'm gonna get her first name wrong. I blow her first name every time. But is it
Octavia?
Octavia, thank you. Jesus, Octavia Spencer. Seeing her in this role is just entertaining and highly enjoyable, and maybe not laugh out loud that often, but incredibly amusing.
Yeah, I mean, look, she's cast with a straight person role, so it kind of is what it is. But
but it's still so silly, and
I feel like that's why I feel like the performers elevated kind of just okay material. I feel like a lot of things that probably made you laugh were Melissa McCarthy ad libs. You know what I mean?
Maybe, but her husband wrote it, so I'm sure that's the goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think that was the plan, and I think the plan worked.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this movie didn't work. You know what I mean? But I would say that I'm never going to think of it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's probably true. It's not much of a thinker.
Yeah.
There are not a lot of takeaways, but it was a pretty good time.
Yeah, I would not dispute that. It's a decent time, you know. I'm not sorry I watched Thunder Force.
We're saying the same things, but you're saying it in a tone that makes me think you didn't actually like it very much.
Well, I think that maybe I laughed less than you. That might be. I think that maybe that's the difference. But not so much that like I was like, screw this. I don't regret it at all. It was a decent time. It
was a decent time. It's a great time out.
I watched it. I'm not mad I watched it. I'm never watching it again. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, those 3 sentences also describe me, but I do think I enjoyed it a little more than you did, particularly just because Melissa McCarthy really, I thought, was hilarious, and Octavia Spencer is just so far above this movie in a way that really works in the movie's favor, I think. I don't quite know how to explain it, but it's just like... It's seeing an Oscar winner in like a goofy superhero joke. It's funny.
I mean, like everybody's game. You could say I don't know if Bobby Cannavale has an Oscar, but he's a prestigious actor, right?
Yeah,
He's
hamming it up.
He is hamming it up.
Yeah, I mean, I really did enjoy all of that on a level that sounds like more than you did, even if I am prepared to acknowledge that everything you're saying about it is true in terms of like the content and the subject matter and what this movie really leaves you with.
Yeah. It's also not a movie that's trying to cure cancer either, right? Like, so I'm not going to evaluate it on that kind of scale, right? Like, this is not Nomadland. You know what I mean?
Well, and
so
you're right. I'll never watch this again. But if you made me choose between this and Nomadland, I'd watch this again in a heartbeat.
Oh wow! All right, that's not going there with you, but we all make choices.
I don't know why. Why would I want to waste my time with Nomadland again? I don't.
Oh man, I'm probably gonna watch Nomadland again.
Oh, God. I mean, I guess if I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm not even trying to diss Nomadland, but just, God, it was so slow.
It kind of sounds like it.
Well, but it was, like, depressing and slow, and I don't know why I want to do that again. Everyone's good. It's a fine movie. We talked about this already.
Yeah. I don't think I found it quite as depressing as you did.
Depressing isn't the right word.
It's languid.
Grim. I don't know what to call it. It's like bleak is probably the right word.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty bleak.
I don't know that I would. Bleak is where I would go, but we're getting down a tangent here on the Nomadland.
Okay, then let's talk about the TV show we watched, because I have a feeling you have more to say about that than you did about
I do,
Thunder
and
Force.
I suspect, without having discussed it with you at all, that we are probably a little closer aligned on this one. With the show we're talking about is Made for Love, which I've really enjoyed. We talked about Kristen Milioti and how she's sort of, have there been some sort of recurring themes about some of the roles that we've seen her in. She's trapped somewhere, whether it be like a time loop or in some, weird tech person or billionaires,
Right.
weird game.
But it
She's
usually
really good at that
involves
role, man.
it usually involves some technology or magic or some such thing.
Yeah, she's really good at it. She is magnetic, relatable, interesting, and this show I found to be easily watchable. The way I've seen 4 now.
I think we're in exactly the same spot. Yeah.
But that is largely because they are only dropping 3 at a time. Like if there were 6 out, or even maybe 9 out on, when we started watching it last week, I probably would have watched all 6. You know what I mean? Like I was plowing through them, and then I just had some other stuff to do. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it is great. I think it's great. It's funny. It's interesting thematically. It's interesting fake technology wise. It has a bizarre and wonderful performance by Ray Romano.
Yeah, I really like late period Ray Romano.
Excellent.
Has just been a series of interesting choices on his part. You know what I mean?
What a choice this one is. And for those who have not watched it, I don't think, if anything, it should make you want to watch this show more when I tell you that Ray Romano plays a, I guess now potentially sober mess of an alcoholic who is having an active public relationship with a sex doll.
Yeah, he's the town pervert.
He's the town pervert. And that's that. There is a scene where he says to his grown daughter, "I gotta tell you something," and she goes, "You're the town pervert now?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And he's driving around with a sex doll dressed up in clothing and talking to her like a real human and serving her breakfast. It is something else, and he is so. Somehow, because Ray Romano turns out to be a really great actor, like you kind of get this guy and you feel for him. It's so weird, and there's so much about this show that's weird, but all very enjoyable and entertaining.
Like, would you have imagined, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago that the post-sitcom career of Ray Romano would be this much more interesting than the post-sitcom career of Jerry Seinfeld?
Probably not, but I will say I think in Jerry Seinfeld and Ray Romano, you see basically the two examples of what you can do when your sitcom is that successful. So in Jerry Seinfeld, you have basically just go away and enjoy your money and live with your family.
Right. Do the stand-up when you want. And
do the stand-up when you want. Do the comedians in cars getting coffee because you feel like chatting with people. Occasionally do a passion project, but basically check out. And Ray Romano is I have all the money I could possibly want, so let me make some interesting acting choices and see what hits. And it's turned into a really impressive late career. Yeah.
The batting average on Ray Romano is pretty high right now. I can't think of too many times I've seen him in something and just been like,
Even that show, do you remember that show, Men of a Certain Age?
I do. I didn't watch that show on any regular basis, but the reviews of it were fantastic, and maybe it's almost now I wonder if I should go back.
You shouldn't. It wasn't that great. I watched the first season of it, I think, and it was good, but not particularly interesting. But Ray Romano played just a really interesting part that was not really what you would have expected, and had to do a lot of like emotional stuff as a man of a certain age, and just he was sort of the revelation of that show, right?
Yeah, I thought he was maybe the revelation of vinyl too.
Yes, exactly. And so, but even those are like interesting choices where the shows didn't hit, but I think people realized, oh man, like Ray Romano is a good actor.
Yeah, hopefully they realize it by now.
And so now I think he's getting
not just those two.
Well, but now I think he gets more and more interesting stuff because of roles like those ones, right? Where he was very publicly playing sort of against type for the Ray Romano character and did really well. And people were like, oh, we can use this guy in various ways. And I think now he's going to keep showing up, which is cool. But he is really something in this. Everyone in this is just really good.
Yeah, is it Billy Magnuson?
I don't know his name, but boy, he's something else too.
He definitely has I've seen that guy somewhere.
Yeah,
but
he's
I
around.
looked at his filmography, and it's not a ton of things that I've watched, so I'm not quite sure where it's coming from. But I think he is great. Like as this sort of, it's hard to say he's playing any one tech bro. You know what I mean?
No, but he's a tech bro parody. And it's really good.
But he nails the tech bro oeuvre pretty well, I think.
Yes,
you know
he's
what I mean?
great. His assistants are hilarious. Kristen Milioti is awesome, as you said, just magnetic. Like she plays this sort of frazzled, shit-talking persona so well. It's just she really is great at it.
Yeah, she is. And like kind of not afraid to sort of expose the flaws of her character,
right?
And the heart, and yeah, she's another one, man. I can't think of too many things I've seen her in where I've been like, well, that's a waste, or she phoned it in, or like
she's really good. She's really good, and even if she's had some similar parts, like I think you could clearly see the differences between, say, this character and the one in Palm Springs.
Yeah, agreed.
Which, by the way, I've now gone back to and watched several times just for fun.
Several times?
I mean, I think I've seen it at least 3, if not 4 times altogether.
I've seen it more than once. It's nice that it does hold up. You know what I mean? So
it's good
I probably
every
want to
time.
watch it again if I'm with someone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, exactly. It's good every time.
Yeah, for sure. So Made for Love, a strong recommend for me. HBO Max has done all right with these original series.
I don't know who's watching or how many people are watching or whether that even matters to them, but I'm hard-pressed to think, well, I guess we didn't love The Undoing, which is funny because a lot of people watch that. That seems to be the biggest one.
That was a regular HBO show, though, right? Like, that was on the...
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how all that works, but it does feel like the Max originals, generally speaking, we have really liked. I mean, there was the Maisie Williams one. There was the...
Flight Attendant.
The Flight Attendant. There's this one. Yeah, and by the way, all of the shows we just mentioned are led by women. And
the Anna Kendrick show.
Yeah.
Whose name I'm blanking on. That was
Love Life.
The first one, right?
Love Life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel really good about HBO Max's original content.
Yeah, good for them.
We got anything from them in the homework?
We do not.
Damn it. Maybe we're not
still
doing
keeping the
this
homework
right.
light, correct?
Pretty light, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
All right, so obviously we'll do the Top Chef again next week.
Yep.
And then to that we will add the show. It's regular HBO, not HBO Max.
I don't even know how that works. I'm watching it all on HBO Max.
To me, it's regular
so.
HBO if it airs on HBO television linear channel.
No, I mean I get
That
that,
makes sense?
but as someone who's watching everything via the app, it doesn't really register.
There's
for
no.
me.
That's not a real distinction for you. Fair enough.
Yeah, no,
Um,
but by the way, whenever this comes up and we're talking about HBO versus HBO Max, I just think of the Dave Chappelle thing where it's the HBO intro, but it says it's not HBO, it's just regular ass TV.
Mayor of
It's not
Easttown, by the way,
HBO
is the
Max,
name of
it's
the
just regular ass HBO.
state. just regular as HBO.
Yeah, Mayor of Easttown, not mayor, but mare, as in
Mare,
a female
yes.
horse. And all I really know about it is it has crime and Kate Winslet.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I need to know. Honestly.
Agreed. I need no further information.
I'm good. I'm in. And then we're also going to watch on Disney Plus.
This
the
feels
John
risky.
Stamos vehicle, Big Shot.
It feels
Well, there's a
risky.
little bit of risk.
And I don't, if I'm honest, I can't necessarily understand or process why a person who reacted with what I might describe as horror at the suggestion of watching the Mighty Ducks reboot would want to watch a John Stamos show about coaching girls high school basketball, but I'm going to give it a try with you.
Well, I didn't watch any of the original Mighty Ducks, so
What?
I assume that it's going to be a reference.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I think we just found our generation gap.
Perhaps.
What year were you born in, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh God, do I have to say this publicly?
No, but you could if you wanna make the conversation more informed.
1975.
Okay, so yeah, that's it right there. Because I was born in 1981, and this movie, the original The Mighty Ducks, came out in theaters approximately 1 month after my 11th birthday. I was right in the wheelhouse for The Mighty Ducks.
And I'm in the
Meanwhile,
wheelhouse for not watching the Mighty Ducks.
that's right, because you're like
no
16.
self-respecting 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Watching the Mighty Ducks.
You're 16, 17 at that point, and that is the difference between us. Is I watched Mighty Ducks with great enthusiasm, and you looked at me like a stupid little nerd, and we were both right.
So that's why I was interested in the Mighty Ducks reboot.
That's
I
fair.
haven't been interested in any Mighty Ducks.
That's
and
fair.
I watched this.
That brings it together for me because this at least is new IP.
Correct. And I am of the right age to have watched all of Full House.
Yeah.
as a young
Well,
kid.
who
So,
isn't? What is the name of the show again?
Big Shot.
Big Shot. Big Shot on Disney Plus. We're gonna give it a try.
So I'm I enjoy a little Stamos every now and again.
Who doesn't enjoy a little Stamos though? Right?
Pushing 60, John Stamos.
Hey, it doesn't look a day over 45, which is pretty much how old he looked the day Full House ended. So I don't know what has happened in between the end of Full House and today, but I know one thing that hasn't happened, and that is John Stamos aging.
Yes.
He's on the Tom
A lot of
Cruise.
people on Full House, but seemingly nothing has happened to John Stamos.
Yeah, he's on the Tom Cruise aging plan. I
think he and Rob Lowe sleep in the same
There it is.
cryogenic chambers.
Yeah, Rob Lowe, John Stamos, and Tom Cruise are either seeing the same doctor or on the same hyperbaric chamber plan. Hard to say which.
Indeed. And on that note,
talk to you on Thursday. Challenge.
Thursday challenge.
Woo, it's going to be
double
great.
episode still. We don't know for how much longer, but we're riding it out. You know what I mean?
I think we can say fundamentally 1 or 2 more weeks at most, but we're going to enjoy it while it lasts, and we'll talk to you on Thursday. Bye!
This game's in the Admiral refrigerator. The door's closed, the light's out. Butter's getting hard, the eggs are cooling, and the Jell-O is jiggling.
So long, everybody.
And do me a favor, have yourself a tremendous evening.